My name is Isla Whitmore. I'm 34 years old. And until 5 weeks ago, I thought I was in a serious relationship headed toward marriage. I was wrong. The moment everything cracked wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet enough that only I seemed to feel it. The second my boyfriend leaned back in his chair at that restaurant and rolled his eyes at the ring I'd saved for months to buy him a future with. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start where I should have started paying attention. Ethan and I had been together for 3 years, living together for 1. Long enough that people stopped asking if we'd get engaged and started asking when. We met through mutual friends at a dinner party. He was confident in that effortless way, the kind of man who spoke like his life was already headed somewhere important. He worked in a competitive field, dressed well, knew how to command a room. I was drawn to that. I won't pretend otherwise. The first year was easy, fun, safe. The second year shifted. He started noticing things. My car, my apartment, my pace. Nothing cruel at first, just comments. Don't you think you'd be further along by now? My coworker just bought a place downtown. Crazy what ambition can do. I brushed it off. Everyone compares, everyone slips. By year 3, the comments weren't slips anymore. They were habits. He'd scroll through Instagram and show me engagement rings his friends' girlfriends got. Massive stones, destination proposals, champagne cliffs, and drone footage. Must be nice, he'd say. Not jealous, not angry, just measuring. Still, I loved him, or at least I loved the version of us I believed in. So I planned the proposal. Nothing extravagant, just meaningful. The restaurant where we had our first date. A Friday night. A white gold band with a 1-carat diamond. Classic, elegant. It cost me almost $8,000. More than I'd ever spent on anything that wasn't rent. But I wanted him to feel chosen. Dinner went well. I was nervous, rehearsing the words in my head. When dessert arrived, I stood, pulled the velvet box from my jacket, and knelt right there between our table and the window. "Ethan," I said, voice shaking, "I love you. I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" I opened the box. He stared at the ring. No smile, no tears, no spark. Then he laughed. Not happily, not kindly. He glanced around the restaurant, noticed people watching, and said, "Are you serious right now?" I stayed on one knee. "Yes." He crossed his arms. "Get up. You're making a scene." I stood, closed the box, sat down. "What's wrong?" I asked. He rolled his eyes, fully rolled them. "That ring?" he said. "Where did you even get that?" "I saved for it," I replied quietly. "I thought you'd like it." He laughed again. "It's tiny. It's embarrassing." My face burned. "It's 1 carat," I said. "It's quality." 1 carat? He scoffed. "My coworker just got engaged. 3 carats. Platinum band. That's a ring." I did the best I could. "You thought wrong." He grabbed his jacket. "Give this ring to someone at your level," he said. "I'm not wearing it." The restaurant went silent. He walked out, and just like that, I was alone, holding a ring I'd bought for a future that evaporated in public. I paid the bill, drove home, sat on the couch all night with the box in my hands. The next morning, I texted him, "We need to talk." 3 hours later, he replied, "I'm staying with a friend. I need space." That's when I realized something that would take weeks to fully accept. He wasn't rejecting the ring. He was rejecting me. The apartment felt different without him. Not emptier, just quieter in a way that made everything louder. The hum of the fridge, the ticking clock over the stove, the faint echo of that sentence replaying itself in my head. "Give this ring to someone at your level." Ethan stayed gone for 4 days. No calls, no apologies, just one message on the second day. "I need time to think." Time to think about what? Whether I was worth the inconvenience of loving. Those 4 days did something to me. The fog lifted. Without him there to soften his words or distract me with routine, memories rearranged themselves into something uglier and clearer. The comments weren't jokes. The comparisons weren't harmless. The dissatisfaction wasn't temporary. He didn't love me. He loved the potential of me, the upgraded version he thought I should become. On the 4th evening, he texted again. "Can I come by and get some of my things?" I stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. "Yes." He arrived with a friend, a woman I barely knew. They moved quickly, efficiently, like this had already been rehearsed. Clothes, toiletries, a couple of books. I stayed on the couch and watched, detached, like I was observing someone else's life being dismantled. At the door, he paused. "I think we should take a break," he said. "Give each other space." "Okay," he frowned. "That's it? What do you want me to say?" "Maybe fight for us." I laughed, not loudly, not cruelly, just once. You rejected my proposal in front of a room full of people, I said. You told me I wasn't good enough. What exactly am I fighting for? He didn't answer. When the door closed behind him, something settled inside me. That night, I opened the ring box again. Really looked at it. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't oversized, but it was beautiful, timeless, solid. And then I did something I hadn't allowed myself to do before. I looked up the return policy. 30 days. I could get most of my money back. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I closed the laptop. Instead, I called the jeweler the next morning. I have a ring, I said, keeping my voice steady, and I want to change how it looks. They explained options, settings, enhancements. A halo design would make the center diamond appear larger, surrounded by smaller stones that amplified its presence. It would cost another $2,000. Do it, I said. When I hung up, my hands were shaking. Not from fear, from clarity. While the ring was being redesigned, I started moving quietly. Thinking, reframing. A mutual friend reached out. Someone neutral, someone who'd seen both sides. When I told him what happened, he wasn't shocked. I've been waiting for this, he admitted. He's been talking about you behind your back for months, saying you weren't ambitious enough, that you were holding him back. I closed my eyes. What are you going to do? He asked. I don't know, I said. Something petty, maybe stupid. He laughed. I support it. 2 weeks later, the jeweler called. The ring was ready. When I picked it up, I almost didn't recognize it. The diamond looked massive now, the band thicker, ornate, expensive. It looked like everything Ethan thought mattered. That night, I took photos. Close-ups, soft lighting, just the ring in the open box. No caption, no explanation. I posted it. Within an hour, the comments flooded in. Congratulations, that ring is insane. Who's the lucky guy? 3 hours later, my phone buzzed. Ethan, is that the ring? I didn't respond. He called. I didn't answer. Another text. Did you propose to someone else? Are you serious right now? This time I replied. You told me to give it to someone at my level. That's what I'm doing. Who is it? We're on a break, not broken up. You rejected me publicly, I typed. The ring wasn't good enough for you. Now it's not yours. The typing bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then nothing. I set my phone down and realized something unexpected. For the first time since that restaurant, I wasn't shaking. I was breathing. 2 days after my post, he showed up. No warning. No, can we talk? Just a knock at my door at exactly 8 p.m., like he still believed time itself owed him my attention. When I opened it, Ethan looked wrong. His eyes were red. Not the glossy kind of red you get from a sad movie. It's the raw kind, like he'd been crying and hating himself for it. His jaw kept tightening, like he was biting down on words that didn't taste good. We need to talk, he said. About what? I asked, keeping my hand on the door. About us, about the ring, about everything. I stepped aside, not because he deserved it, but because I wanted to see what desperation looked like on him. I wanted to watch him try to rewrite the ending he'd already chosen. We sat on the couch, the same couch where we'd watched shows, argued about nothing, planned weekends. Now it felt like a stranger's furniture. He rubbed his palms over his jeans like he couldn't get clean. I made a mistake, he said finally, at the restaurant. I tilted my head. Did you? Yes, I was stressed. I said things I didn't mean. You seemed pretty clear. His face twitched, annoyance, quickly masked as regret. I was embarrassed, he admitted. Everyone's been getting these huge proposals. My friends, my coworkers, their partners go all out. And he swallowed. I wanted that. I wanted to feel valued. The word hit me like a slap. Valued? I repeated. So you humiliated me because you wanted something that looked better on Instagram. That's not fair, he snapped, then softened immediately. Is it? I leaned forward slightly. Ethan, I spent $8,000. I saved for months. I planned the night. I got down on one knee in public because I thought you loved me, and you told me to give it to someone at my level. He flinched at his own words, like hearing them out loud finally made them real. Then his eyes lifted, sharp. The ring in your post, he said. It's different, bigger. It is. It's beautiful, he whispered, like that was the confession he thought mattered most. I smiled once, slow and cold. Good. Someone else will love it. His head snapped up. Who? I didn't answer right away. The silence stretched just long enough for him to imagine 100 versions of me moving on. Who is he? He demanded, voice rising. There is no he, I said calmly. His anger froze mid-breath. What? I redesigned the ring, I told him. That's all. I posted it. There's no one else. His face twisted, relief fighting humiliation. So you lied. I made you feel what I felt, I said. Rejected. Not good enough. Humiliated. His cheeks went red. That's cruel. Is it? I asked. Because I remember you laughing at me in a restaurant full of strangers. For a second, he looked like he might argue. Then he slumped, defeated. I want another chance, he said, voice cracking. I can fix this. There's nothing to fix, I replied. You showed me who you are. I believe you. He started crying then. Not the pretty kind. The kind where your face folds in on itself, where pride melts into panic. Please, he sobbed. I love you. I watched him, really watched him. And I realized something that surprised even me. I felt nothing. Not hate, not revenge, not satisfaction. Just distance. You love the idea of me, I said quietly. The version you think I should become. But you don't love me. He didn't argue. Because he couldn't. He left a few minutes later, wiping his face, shoulders hunched like someone who'd finally realized the door he slammed had locked behind him. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. A week later, my phone rang. The jeweler. Hi, Isla, the woman said, her voice careful. I just wanted to give you a heads up. A coldness spread through my chest. About what? Someone came into the store today asking about a ring. Describe the one you had us redesign. She said she was your fiancé and wanted to know how much it cost. I sat up. What did you tell her? Nothing, the jeweler said quickly. We don't share client information. But she was persistent, aggressive. We thought you should know. After I hung up, I already knew what this was. It wasn't love. It wasn't regret. It was math. Ethan wasn't trying to win me back because he missed me. He was trying to calculate whether I'd suddenly become valuable enough to keep. That evening, he texted, I know you just redesigned it. You didn't buy a new one. You're playing games. I stared at the message, then typed back. Does it matter? His reply came fast. Yes, you made me think you had money all along and just didn't want to spend it on me. I laughed out loud in my empty kitchen. I spent $8,000 on you, I wrote. It wasn't enough. No response. 2 days passed. Then, on a Tuesday evening, I heard a knock. When I opened the door, Ethan was standing there again. But this time, he was shaking. And in his trembling hand was a small velvet box. Someone returned this to me, he said, voice thin. At work, in front of everyone. I took the box slowly, opened it. Inside was the original ring, not the redesigned one. The same setting, the same band, the same quiet, classic 1-carat diamond I'd given him with my whole heart. I looked up sharply. Where did you get this? He swallowed hard. Your friend, the one I've been staying with. He came into my office today, walked right up to my desk and handed it to me. His voice shook harder. He said you wanted me to have it, said you thought you deserved to see what you threw away. My stomach turned. I hadn't told anyone to do that. But whoever did it had understood something perfectly. Ethan held my gaze, desperate. He also said... Ethan's voice cracked. He said you're seeing someone who appreciated the redesigned ring, someone who said yes. I didn't answer. I just let the silence do its work. His breathing sped up, like he couldn't stand not knowing. Is it true? He whispered. Are you really with someone else? I stepped closer, took the box from his shaking hand, and I said the one sentence that cut through all his noise. That's what you're focused on? I asked. Not that you hurt me, not that you humiliated me, just whether I've moved on. His mouth opened, closed. Tears slid down his face. I just need to know, he said. No, I replied. You need to leave. He stood there for another moment, like his body refused to accept the command. Then he turned and walked away. The door clicked shut behind him. Soft, final. And I believed again, foolishly, that it was over. It wasn't. 3 weeks passed. No messages, no surprise visits, no velvet boxes. I let myself believe the silence meant acceptance. Then the calls started. Not from Ethan. From people I hadn't spoken to in months. Hey, are you okay? I heard some things and wanted to check in. This might sound weird, but are you all right? The tone was always the same. Careful, hesitant, like they were circling something ugly without wanting to say it out loud. Finally, one of them did. He's telling people you're stalking him. The room went cold. What? I said. He said you've been showing up at his work, that you've been sending him threatening messages, that he's scared of you. I laughed once, sharp and disbelieving, waiting for the punchline that never came. That's not true, I said. You know that's not true. I know, she replied quickly, but not everyone does. That was the moment something inside me hardened. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was damage control. I called a lawyer that same day, a friend of mine who'd just passed the bar and happened to be painfully thorough. Document everything, he told me. Texts, emails, call logs, screenshots, the ring post. Get a statement from the jeweler about him coming in and harassing them for information. He's trying to control the narrative, he added. If he can't be the victim privately, he'll become one publicly. 2 days later, my phone rang again. This time it was a number I recognized immediately. His mother. We'd always gotten along. She was warm, thoughtful, the kind of woman who remembered birthdays and asked real questions. Nothing like the version of her son I'd come to know at the end. Isla, she said gently, I need to talk to you. Can we meet for coffee? Curiosity won out over caution. We met the next afternoon at a small cafe halfway between our neighborhoods. She already looked tired when I arrived, shoulders slumped, hands wrapped tightly around a mug of tea. I'm so sorry, she said before I even sat down. I blinked. For what? For what he did, she said quietly, at the restaurant. My chest tightened. I know he told me his version, she continued, but I also spoke to someone who was there, someone who saw everything. She shook her head slowly. What he did was cruel, publicly cruel. I didn't know what to say. I raised him better than that, she went on, voice wavering. Or at least I thought I did. But somewhere along the way, he became obsessed with appearances, with status, with keeping up. She looked at me then, eyes glossy. I've watched it happen. I tried to talk to him. He doesn't listen. Why are you telling me this? I asked. She exhaled. Because I want you to know you're not crazy, and because I need to warn you. A chill crept up my spine. He's not handling this well, she said. He's been fixated on you, on the ring, on whether you're with someone else. She hesitated. He drove by your apartment twice last week. My stomach dropped. He what? I told him to stop, she said quickly. I told him to let it go, to get therapy, but he's convinced you're playing games with him, that you're trying to hurt him on purpose. I just want him to leave me alone, I said quietly. I know, she replied. That's why I'm here, to apologize, and to tell you to be careful. She reached into her bag then and pulled out an envelope. What's this? I asked. The money, she said, for the ring, the original one. I froze. I can't take that. Yes, you can, she insisted gently. It's not right that you're out all that money because my son has impossible standards. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a check for $8,000. I raised him better than this, she said again. Or I thought I did. But you deserve better. Please take it, move on. Find someone who appreciates you. Something inside me finally unclenched. Not because of the money. Because someone, finally, had seen the truth and named it without excuses. I deposited the check the next morning. And for the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. 2 months after the proposal. Almost 3 since I'd first started planning it. I stood inside the jewelry store one last time, the redesigned ring resting on a velvet pad between the clerk and me. Under the lights, it still looked dramatic, oversized, impressive, everything Ethan once said he wanted. And I felt absolutely nothing. I'd like to return it, I said. They processed the refund without questions. The $2,000 from the redesign came back to me as cash and store credit. When I walked out, the ring was no longer my problem. Neither was he. With the money from the return and the $8,000 his mother had given me, I finally did something I'd been postponing for years. I booked a trip. 3 weeks. Europe. Alone. Something I'd always wanted but never felt I could afford or justify while building a future that no longer existed. I leave next week. Ethan found out somehow, probably through social media, through friends of friends I hadn't bothered to block. He sent one final message from a mutual friend's phone. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. You made me look like the villain. I hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to explain. His mother texted me a few days later. He's moving away. New job in another city. Fresh start. Maybe that's good for him, I replied. Maybe. The mutual friends who believed his stories either apologized or disappeared. I learned quickly which outcome mattered more. The people who knew me, really knew me, stayed. Last week, I ran into one of the servers from the restaurant where everything fell apart. She recognized me immediately. Hey, she said carefully, you're the woman who... I'm sorry. It's fine, I said. I remember. She hesitated, then smiled. For what it's worth, everyone there thought he was out of his mind. The ring was beautiful. Any man would have been lucky. Thank you, I said, and I meant it. A friend asked me recently if I felt like I got closure. I think so, I told her. Any regrets about proposing? I thought about it. I wish I'd seen who he really was sooner, I admitted, but I wouldn't have known if I hadn't tried. She nodded. And now? Now I'm free. The apartment feels like mine again. I sleep through the night. I eat better. I work out. I laugh without bracing for disappointment. People ask me if I'll ever propose again. if I'm afraid of being humiliated like that another time. I'm not. Because I learned something. Love isn't about the size of a ring, or the price tag, or the photos you get to post. It's about respect, partnership, seeing someone, really seeing them, and choosing them anyway. He told me to give the ring to someone at my level. So I did. I gave it back, got my money back, and invested in myself. And that was the smartest commitment I've ever made.